Okay, so I didn't legally get married. But let me tell you about my adventures during COVID. I uh, I was wandering around looking for love on Grinder and Tinder and shit like that during COVID. And in the middle of doing that, one second, I have to cough. Okay, in the middle of doing that, I found a trans woman named Dakota, and we pretty rapidly fell in love with each other. We had been seeing each other a couple of weeks off and on. That was basically like I would start getting ready at 6 o'clock, knowing that she was gonna like text me around 7 or 8, so that we would hook up and hang out and be fucking by 9 or 10, and she would spend the night. And we did that 4 or 5 nights a week for 3 or 4 weeks straight. And then she kind of looked up at me and was like, "Would you be my girlfriend?" I was like, "Oh, honey, I think I already am your girlfriend." Like that was a long time ago. And like I don't know. I lost all reason when it came to her. I fell very very deeply in love with her. I still am. She won't speak to me at the moment. She will eventually again. I hope. I uh, I love that woman more than life itself. It's hard to live without her, to be honest. And I'm glad that COVID happened. I guess I wouldn't have found her otherwise, man. Like she is the opposite of me in so many ways. Let's start out with the title of this. She is a fucking communist. She is an anarcho or was an anarcho communist. I don't know how she would describe herself currently. We haven't talked politics in a while. But while we were hanging out, basically I took her from crazy, crazy far left to like crazy left wing libertarian. And she took me from crazy right wing libertarian to kind of middle of the road libertarian. And I think this is what living with another person for an extended amount of time who has different opinions from you does to someone. And it was nice. We would fight all the time. And by that I mean like verbally and not like screaming at each other or whatever, but like, I can't believe you believe that. You believe that. Why do you believe that? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until like we started making out. She was perfect. Like I'm difficult to live with. Let's put it that way. I'm difficult to get along with at all. And this person moved into my house for a year and barely noticed that I existed because she just blended in so well. And by that I mean like she said that I was easy to live with. And for her I bet I really was because like I loved her so much. I pretty much damn near waited on her hand and foot, and I paid for everything. And the part that I liked about her was when she had money, she would just give it to me. And I think that's because of the amount of money that I had spent on her over the course of our relationship or whatever. But like, it wasn't ever about her and money and whatever. She just wanted to be along for the ride. And God, it's admirable. I I need more than that out of a relationship though, really. And I'm hoping that she's doing some growing right now on her own and is going to come back to me at some point, an even better version of herself. I can't wait to see what she becomes. I asked her to marry me, and she wasn't looking for that. And I think it may be one of those, like, she's not looking for it right now. And eventually she will be. And I'm going to make sure that I'm somewhere where she can find me. It's hard to go from literally living so that someone else can stay alive to not having that person in your life. It damn near broke me, to be honest. And, before I met her, I was very fuck communism, fuck communists, kill them all. That's kind of the way I thought. I met her and thought she was cute and figured I'd try to change her mind or whatever. And we started hanging out, and I definitely changed her opinion on a great many things. But she also changed my opinion on some things, and that's impressive. Just so you know this, boys, that is impressive. Like, if you're Matt or E Honda and we're having a screaming match argument back and forth, okay, you might be able to change my mind. But for someone who never raised their voice once, ever, to be able to like sway my opinion by that much, she's just smart as a whip. And like, she was on the spectrum, 100% had to be. And like, I didn't even know that for the most of the time we were having a relationship, and that really fucked with my head. But in reality, if I had enough money right now, that bitch would still be here. I don't have enough money to feed and house her for the foreseeable future. I hope she's all right. I always thought I would never find anyone that was right for me because I'm kind of weird. The first night we were ever together, we were making love, and she said something about liking guns and never having held one, and I handed her a fucking cig. And we talked guns all the time after that. That's all we ever did. We talked guns and Star Wars and politics and YouTube. We watched a fuck ton of YouTube and Rick and Morty. The greatest experience of my life was getting to know a communist up close and personal. This person described themselves as being an Antifa. And I think if you were to describe me as anything, as I'm definitely not for Antifa. And at the end of the day, we were able to hang out because at the end of it, we were upset at the same shit. And this is the stuff that gets to me about the left and all of their protests and all of the rest of this shit is in reality the thing that they're upset about is that the government is in their lives. Maybe we should all just get the government out of our lives. That's really the big takeaway I got from living with a communist for a year. For a year. Like, really, I should write a book. I think she and I should have had a radio show. I told her that 100 times, but we were, you know, half out of our minds from the COVID, and we were smoking a lot of weed. And I don't know. It was an interesting time. Not to mention that there was a couple acid trips in there, and you know, I'm all anti-drug and whatever until the fucking hippie chick is like, you know what I like to do? Drop acid and have a bunch of paint and just run around naked and fuck all day, and I'm just like, well, I guess we're gonna try acid. You know, I highly recommend. By the way, I wouldn't do it all the time, but you should definitely do an acid trip at some point in your life. I would do it when you have some time to like recover afterwards. What else? Oh, she was a huge Hunter S. Thompson fan, and so was I. She came at it from the drug side of things. I came at it from the gun side of things. So we were like a marriage made in heaven, really. I I still love her. I would run off with her right now. In case you can't tell that by me talking. I would rather be hanging out with her and doing whatever the fuck it is she wants to do rather than me talking to you right here, right now. But she needs time, and she needs to grow. That's the thing that I came to realize in our relationship. And I don't know how I am going to reopen that bridge, but I'm thinking about giving her something really, really cool. And eventually I might do that. You know, an FAL with a phone number is a pretty good, hey, baby. What if I paint my phone number on the FAL? That might be too much. I don't think she realizes how in love with her I am, or the fact that I ain't going anywhere. Like I'm not gonna like stalk her or anything, but I want her back. I hope she's hearing this. I hope she somehow knows this. I had a dream about her the other night, and I almost text her. And the more I think about it, the more I don't, because we're in hard times right now, and she's not really built for hard times. She she needs money, basically, put it mildly. Um, I have the same issue in that basically I like to smoke some weed, and when I say that, I mean constantly. So she and I got along because I was already going through a fuck ton of weed, and adding her weed to my weed, I did not notice. That's right. That is correct. I did not notice. Now, part of that was because of how I was getting my weed and whatever. Maybe we could go into that some other time. But the first night we were ever together, I had bought, I think it was an ounce of some shit that I didn't like, and I had smoked up like half of it. So I had like half an ounce of stuff that I had ground the entire ounce and put it in a Ziploc container. And it was a sativa, and I didn't like it at all. She smoked some of it and liked it, so I gave it to her. This was the first night we were ever together. I'm like, you guys, you need something to smoke too, and whatever. And, see you next time, whenever. Like, figuring I might never see her again, and like she texts me all the fucking time, and like maybe that's part of it because I gave her stuff or whatever, but like I gave her stuff without asking anything. You know, every time she was with me, we had fun, and I made sure that she had food while she was with me, and that when she left me, she had weed and a nicotine vape. You want to like win a girl's heart or whatever. Apparently, that's like the key to do it. And I'm not saying you should buy a bitch or whatever, but women notice shit like this. The fact that she could have left her house with nothing. She could have left her house in a pair of panties and jumped into my car, and she would have been just fine. That's not true. She didn't need the panties. She could have jumped into my car naked. This is how you should be with women. Now, part of that was I have a whole bunch of women's clothes. So maybe you shouldn't be that way with women if you're a straight man. But honestly, if you are in the business of fucking straight women, go to Target, go to their clearance rack, go to the lingerie section, and pick out some shit. And then go to like the sports activewear section and do the same thing. And then go to like the t-shirts and do the same thing. And then like the sweatpants and do the same thing. And I would get like, a half a dozen of each of these things. And I would have all that shit new and on hangers in your closet. And, to some women, this is going to look bad. It looks like you fuck a lot of women. Honey, it should look like you fuck a lot of women. Why? Well, because you should fuck a lot of women. That's a whole different conversation, really. But, like, if you're in the business of looking for someone as a life partner, you should probably be fucking. That's just my opinion. And that's, like, from, like, the gay community. So maybe straight people, it's different. I don't know. But I don't really know how I like someone as a long-term partner until we've been in bed. And I think pretty much everyone is that way. And I think this is like one of the big issues with a lot of Christianity and their whole no sex before marriage thing. Is like, well, honey, that's not how the world works, but okay. And like, this is why the Christian religion is going to die out in America, really. And I'm hoping that, Cromism, or whatever you want to call this thing that I'm making, where we have guns and smoke weed and, you know, worship the universe and tell the government to go fuck themselves, you know, I'm hoping that that takes off. I would like that to replace Christianity. Like, be a good person, have fun, smoke your weed, shoot your guns. It doesn't really get better than that. That's my message here. Really, is that like when you go out to the gun range and you're free and shooting guns in the open air, that moment right there, that's as good as life gets. Not entirely true. There is that whole acid hippie chick thing, but like, trust me, that the gun thing is also very good. Like, I would do both. That's what my message to you is. That's the message of this video is definitely go and shoot some guns and definitely go and have freaky sex with hippie chicks on acid. Okay? I would go and do everything. Go and do everything that you want to do. I wouldn't be held back by preconceptions or whatever. Like, on the surface of it, Dakota and I shouldn't be in love at all. Never should have been. I have a fucking flag on my wall that's a fucking Confederate flag with an M16 on it that says fuck communism. I showed that to her on our third date. Honestly, I think she liked dating the bad girl or whatever, the rebel, because like she came from a Democratic family. And I know, like, from the other side of it, she was kind of attractive just because she didn't think like my parents. I think maybe like when you have two super like politically, askew people, we know we're never going to find someone that's, going to match with us 100%. But the thing that like doesn't occur to most people is to look on the opposite end of the spectrum and to have wild, crazy, passionate makeup sex after the arguments. Like that would be my advice. And like I forget who it is. It's Ann Coulter and somebody else. It was like Russell Cargill or something like that. Like there's two political pundits from like CNN and Fox News that are married. And when I heard that, I was like, interesting. And then I told that to Dakota, and she was like, well, we know what they do. I'm like, we definitely know what they do. There's no way, no bones about it. Like, it's fun to argue with someone that you know loves you and that at the end of it, you're probably going to fuck. Find that. Have that in your life. That's what you should want in a woman. Like, why would you want a woman that fucking, just agreed with everything you ever said? The cool part about her was that when it came to, hey, we need to do X, Y, or Z to survive, she was just like, well, you know more about that than me. That is kind of nice. And that's like the thing is like, you need a life partner that can be that person that argues with you and changes your mind and shit, but also knows when it's best just to let you do what you do. Finding a woman to live your life with is one of the most difficult things in life. I don't think it's something that most men ever really master. Thanks for watching.